Welcome to the Ask a Matchmaker Hotline. I'm your host, Matchmaker Maria, and I'm recording from home, which I haven't done that since a year ago because we've been doing in studio, but I don't have time to go to the studio because I have a lot of things happening right now. I am submitting my final manuscript for my book. It has been crazy. And also I am packing to go to Greece for 2 months. To talk me through this stress and other related items, I welcome Matchmaker Louie Felix to the show. Matchmaker Louie, welcome to Ask a Matchmaker.
Hi, Maria. Super excited to be here.
We got to change the title, Ask a Matchmakers. Ask the Matchmakers. So I have a few things to say, but to get the show rolling. But really quick, are you excited to go to Greece at the end of this week?
I don't feel ready this year. This year has been really, really stressful. And I've had so many calls, back-to-back calls, assessment calls.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited.
Talk about that.
It's amazing.
Talk about that to me. Tell me a little bit. Because I've noticed your dating assessment. So for those who don't know, Louie is Agape Match's chief operating officer. He's been working at Agape Match for, I want to say 7 years.
Yeah, it's going on 7 years now. I think I always say 5 or 6, but it's like 7.
Yeah. And I feel like the pandemic really effed with my head because the other day I was saying like, oh yeah, Louie's been working for 3 years. And I'm like, wait, that's not accurate.
Yep.
You've been here before Yanni was born.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's funny.
And the last 2 years, we've been doing dating assessments. So like I have the Agape Intensive portion, which is our coaching program, the group stuff. And then you do the one-on-one assessment calls. I always get this question from people who are interested in doing one, but like, what is an assessment call?
Boy, it's evolved through the years. And I think that where we are today it's so fantastic. We are really just going into past relationships, upbringing, figuring out like how you got to where you are today. And how we can get you to where you want to be, like your relationship goals over the next 3 to 6 months. And actually, the majority of the people that I do assessment calls with are either in a relationship or are meeting super high quality men or women, because I do get male assessment calls sometimes, within the first 3 months. It's so incredible, the number of messages that I get from people that scheduled calls that are in relationships.
I mean, I get those messages. People DM me all the time, like, I just finished my assessment call and like, this is already happening. Or like, I'm going on 3 first dates this weekend. I didn't, And so it's like, you're the dating shaman. That's what's happening.
I feel like I have the secret sauce. I think that like, I don't know, when it comes, especially for women on the online dating sites and apps, or just looking to meet the right person, I feel like I figured it out. Like we have the most incredible strategies, and they're really customized depending on the person, right? The age, location, there's a lot of, it's very personal.
Right.
And of course, everybody's upbringing and background is different as well. So that factors in. But for the most part, it's fantastic.
I think it's a good pairing. I think it's
a
good pairing. Like, I think when someone does an Agape intensive with myself and Matchmaker Kursula, it's like, we're going to shift the dating mindset. And then
that's a whole nother level. If you do both,
it's totally different. And then the assessment, to me, at least in how I talk about it to people, is like, it's a really personal call with really personal advice.
Right.
It's about your past and like where you want to be in your future.
Right.
And it's
but at the same time,
strategy.
It is more strategy. I have a very logic-minded methodology, as you know.
Yeah.
But I have to ask for permission to speak freely, right? Because I say what I think. And sometimes it can come across as offensive sometimes, or maybe people don't like a question that I ask. But it's really always in their best interest. So, but it's been great. I'm so happy. And I wish everybody who is single that maybe can't afford a matchmaker, right? They should schedule an assessment call, because it does come with a strategy as well.
Right.
And it really works. It's amazing.
I love it. And I think, I could see your calendar because I have access to it. And it's interesting to see, like, you and I have been just really busy the last few weeks. And I like people keep asking me like, are you excited to go to Greece? And I'm like, I'm going to Greece. Like it hasn't even like, I will get excited on Tuesday, like the day before I board my flight. I know you're boarding later after me.
Right.
And I'll get excited when I get to like I'm still not there. I still haven't packed. And I know that a lot of the women, we have like 65 women coming. Like
insane.
We have like an insane itinerary for 2 weeks.
Yeah. 2 weeks.
And I've been thinking a lot too about like, okay, so we're going to be recording in Greece, the upcoming episodes. Actually, the next few weeks, like while I'm in Greece, I've had to purchase microphones, tripods. Like I've had to like create a podcast studio in Greece. I'm bringing mugs with me because I can't bring my neon sign with me. So the mugs will say like, ask a matchmaker. And I want to see how it's going to go. Like, I know I'm going to interview you in person and Chrysula and Amalie and Anna Maria. Like, I know I'm going to interview the staff and all that stuff when we're there. Right. But I think I want to see also like the people that we're going on these trips with, like, hey, who wants to come on the microphone? Like, I want to see how it evolves. Because even then eventually, once everyone leaves, once those 2 retreats are done, then I live in Greece in the summer, right? Until the end of August. So I'll be recording there. I'll probably give some updates on the in-law front.
Right.
It's going to be good. What about you? Like, what are you most excited about when we head over there?
I don't, it's so funny. People think I'm going on this amazing vacation, and it's amazing for the attendees, of course.
Yeah.
But I think people forget I'm working, right?
Yeah.
So I think, it's funny. We did the Zoom call with the first group, the 32 women. I forget how many were on that call. Yeah. But on that first call, you made a comment, and it kind of sunk in with me because you're like, well, I don't actually even see Louie when I go to Greece because I'm always like,
I see you at the end of the night
with people, and
and it's all of us. Like, I love that we're all there, and we're just kind of giving. We're just giving, and I love that. I love the experience that we provide. And for anyone listening who wants to come to a future trip, like when that link comes out in a few months, sign up, and we'll go to Greece with you next year, and that'll be great.
And you're literally with us 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Like we're really just like working through things, talking to you, helping you. So that's why I'm just, it's amazing.
Before we get to the hotline, because this is a hotline episode, we're going to be answering some questions. I wanted your take on what's in the news this week.
Regarding?
I haven't told you. So I'm going to read it to you first. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this is an article that was published by Time Magazine. It's written by Yuri Kageyama, published on June 6th. All right, ready?
Okay.
Called Tokyo Futari Story. The City Hall's new initiative is just that, an effort to create couples, futari, in a country where it is increasingly common to be hitori, or alone. While a site offering counsel and general information for potential lovebirds is online, a dating app is also in development. City Hall hopes to offer it later this year, accessible through phone or web, a city official said on Thursday. Details were still undecided. City Hall declined to comment on Japanese media reports, saying that the app would require a confirmation of identity, such as a driver's license, your tax records to prove income, and a signed form that says that you are ready to get married.
Wow.
Marriage is on the decline in Japan as the country's birth rate fell to an all-time low, according to the health ministry data on Wednesday. Last year, there were 474,717 marriages, down from 504,930 in 2022, while births totaled 727,277, down from 770,759. So I know I just said a lot of numbers, but basically marriages are down by about 30,000, and births are down in 1 year, in 2 years, in 1 year, excuse me. And in 1 year, births are down by almost 50,000 in 1 year. That's crazy. The report also said that the app may ask for your height, job, and education, but the official denied anything was decided. On the national level, the government has been trying to solve a serious labor shortage by promising cash payments for families with children and supporting childcare facilities. It's also relaxed immigration policy over the years to encourage an influx of foreign workers. During the so-called baby boom era of the 70s, Japan recorded more than 2 million births a year.
Wow.
Like many young adults around the world today, fewer Japanese are interested in old style marriage and having children. There are concerns that Japanese workplace norms tend to lead to extremely long hours and rarely meeting people outside work. Some say raising children is expensive. It is expensive. Tokyo City Hall is sponsoring events where singles can meet, couples can get counseling on marriage, and where lovers can have their stories of how they first met turned into manga, comics, or songs.
Hmm. Wow. So wait, are these arranged marriages? I don't understand.
No. So essentially, the Japanese government is creating their own online dating app. And to participate in this online dating app, you need official documentation that you are who you are, that you say what you make, and that you are single, that there's no marriage license, filed away at City Hall. So basically what they're trying to do is not only are they sponsoring events and group meetings to facilitate people meeting in person and also helping people that are in marriage go the distance, they are also investing in a dating app that at least gets rid of some of the pitfalls that we might see or experience in online dating, which is that person is not who they say they are. They're not the height that they said they are. They might actually be in a relationship. They might not be interested in getting married and having kids. So this app is just kind of giving, it's going forward with intent and transparency.
I mean, I don't know if online dating sites or apps like Bumble or Hinge or like, if they even exist in Japan, right? It's very
I believe
American heavy, right? I mean, I do hear about Hinge and Bumble in Canada.
Let me tell you, I'll tell you right now. I'm pretty sure they do. Is Hinge? No, Hinge is not available in
Japan. So like, that's my first thought is maybe they're just not like up to date with like, because I feel like in the United States, we have Hinge, we have Bumble, we have Tinder, we have, of course, the veteran sites, Match.com,
Tinder,
eHarmony.
Tinder is in Japan. Let me just try one more really quick. Bumble is in Japan. So they have Bumble and they have Tinder. Do you think this will ever happen in the States?
No, I don't think that would ever happen in the United States. I think people are just so concerned with their private information. I think that would probably deter people from wanting to do something like that.
I feel like one of the things that I keep saying behind closed doors, I mean, I've said it on the podcast like many months ago, which was like back in last summer, I believe it was, like the Surgeon General came out and said that like we have a pandemic of loneliness and it's actually healthier. That's not the right word. It's more dangerous to be lonely in this country than to smoke 15 cigarettes a day. And I remember saying on the podcast, like, okay, so what's the directive? Like how, like you're saying that people are experiencing loneliness, but what is the government going to do about that? And I remember saying, like, when are towns and state governments going to invest in, making parenthood less expensive, making it easier to be a parent, and then also, forget like we're talking about people in relationships, but also like people meeting other people. Loneliness is so it's such a singular experience because it's loneliness, and there is an opportunity here for local and state governments to have more fairs, sponsor different clubs, create an initiative where more people can be outside the house and meet new people outside of work. So that way people could be in relationships, with new people that they meet versus, as I always say, swiping away their soulmate.
Right. I'm not convinced that it'll make a big difference if the government stepped in and got involved, especially not in the United States. When you look at the sheer number of people that are on these online dating sites and these apps, I mean, it's astronomical, right? I don't know that that's necessarily the problem. I think a lot of people enjoy being single, for starters, and I'd be so curious to see how many people even watching this would put comments in there that they would join like a government assisted dating site.
Right. I think that we don't have enough public spaces in the States. And I know right now I'm making like the US is so massive. And obviously dating experiences are going to differ from state to state, but also
Right.
like your single experience differs from state to state, right? If you live in Florida, let's say West Palm Beach, you have that beautiful square, people go there, they
Right.
go to the promenade. We don't have that where I live in New Jersey. You have like street fairs that happen on Main Street in the summer, like on summer Fridays, but that's about
Right.
it. And I don't know. It just seems it goes kind of back to like, why is the Japanese government investing in this and not necessarily like, why isn't Tinder or Bumble that are available in Japan that like, what exactly is missing in that?
I feel like a lot in those a lot of the Asian companies, the government controls a lot more of of people's lives, right? I
Right.
feel like maybe that's why this could be a big difference compared to like the United States, where there's so much more freedom of choice and freedom of religion. And I mean, I'm sure it exists there as well, but I just feel like there's always like this government control, like even in China with the number of kids that you can have, right? Like you're always told what you can and can't do by your government.
I think you're right. I think that there's a lot more supervision digitally and
Surveillance.
surveillance. Thank you. There's a
Right.
lot more
It's like, what's the word?
surveillance. I was looking for that
Yeah.
word. There's a lot
Right.
more surveillance in some of those countries. And maybe this is a norm, but I just think it's like fascinating because the news did hit here. And I was just like, huh, that's interesting because I don't think we are as far off. I think if someone created an app where you had to scan your driver's license and prove that you are single, people would join that app in this country.
Well, I will say there is the league, right, where they do tie it into your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And the LinkedIn does it's a little bit more like where you verify like education, stuff like that. So it's kind of like that. But, the league is like $400 a month. It's expensive.
So
Yeah,
my
I think it's
match now.
$100 a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the closest thing to something like that, I think, that we have here in the States.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would be interested in getting height verification. I just feel like
Yeah.
the height thing
come
has
on.
really effed up dating in
No.
this country because it's
Oh,
not about
gosh.
someone lying about 1 inch. It's about the fact that when you meet people from the internet, you already are coming into the mindset of dating like, is this person a liar? Whereas if you had met this person at a summer barbecue and your friend told you, oh, my friend is here, their average height, like you don't go and meet your friend's friend thinking, are they lying about their height?
I think it's become a bigger deal than it actually is, right? It's like the more we allow people to just become so nitpicky about 1 or 2 inches, like I think men do it for obvious reasons, right? I mean, women don't want to meet a man who's 5'6", so if he puts 5'8", then maybe he'll get more dates. At the end of the
Right.
day, online dating sites and apps are marketing tools. You're marketing yourself, right? So always look your best. I disagree with a lot of the advice that dating coaches give. When it comes to how to set up your online dating profile as a woman, especially.
Well, what do you mean?
Like,
Let's see if we disagree.
listen, from a male, we do disagree. From a male perspective, like, I think we agree on like the basic stuff, like never never post photos with friends next to you, never submit photos wearing sunglasses or a big hat.
Uh-huh.
But I take it to like a kind of another level when I talk to people. Like, I don't think that women, I think men want to see what it's like to be on a date with you. I truly believe this. So men are visual creatures by nature, and women are as well. But I think women can bypass a lot of it more than men can, right? So I think women should always post. Like Hinge requires 4 to 6 photos. It used to be 6; they may have reduced it to 4 now. And I think that's by state actually, because some people are like, no, they're requiring 6 photos. So some people are saying no, it's only 4. Anyway, I believe that if you're a woman, that all your photos should be of just you. Your hair and makeup should be done, and it should be the best photo. It should always be 2 or 3 headshots and 2 to 3/4 length photos. I don't think you should ever post a full body photo. 3/4 length is enough. Like, we don't need to see your calves and your, the bottom half of your legs. I think as long as you have like from the knee up, that it's going to give a good depiction of your body type, right? That's really what men want to know. is what's the body type and what does she look like?
Right.
But, you know, I'm not a big fan of like, if you love to hike, you know, put it in your bio. If you love to, you know, cook, make pasta, put it in your bio. I don't want to see a photo with you with your hair in a bun and sweating while you're hiking. And although the background may be beautiful, you're not looking your best. So, you know, it's kind of like when you see a Taco Bell commercial at 3 a.m. They make those tacos look so good. You want to stop what you're doing and go buy a taco.
Do you remember
right?
we went
That's
and got
the point of
tacos at
marketing.
2
I know, I do. I thought of that. That's so funny. But that's kind of the point of marketing, right? So like, I kind of feel like your photos should be the same way. Have a nice, bright, clear image and look your best.
But you haven't told me anything I disagree with.
No, but I know that you like a lot of the photos that like you'll allow women to post photos of them on the beach or like photos of them like hiking, you know, beautiful background. Like that's, you know,
not really.
I know a lot of the other dating experts
they have to
do
look
that
cute
as well. Yeah, but I think a woman's idea of looking cute is very different from a man's idea of a woman looking cute. I think that's where there's a disconnect.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever even reviewed a profile where
so like I've seen some of your dating profiles.
If you're hiking, that photo was taken like the moment you started the hike.
So for example, there's a lot of women. So I had a woman who was dressed as Mrs. Doubtfire, right? And she looked really cute. She was Mrs. Doubtfire. And I said, that's wonderful to talk about on a date. I wouldn't even like, maybe you could write it in your bio. You know, I'd love to dress up for Halloween. 1 year I dressed up as Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't need to see the photo in your bio, right? Stuff like that. Like, that's all I mean.
Yeah.
And I might get a lot of hate for this, but I'm just telling you, this is what
I disagree with. I think, I thought you were going to say like, it's okay to lie about your height. And I'm like, I don't think it is.
I don't think that women see it the way men see it. Like if I were 5'6",
I'm not talking about women. I'm talking about men.
I know, but if I'm a man, I'm 5'6", 70% of women are not going to click on my profile just because I put that I'm 5'6".
And that's what I'm saying though, like, because everyone is lying. Like literally the premise of this whole conversation was because everyone is lying. Everyone like if you're 5'6" and you're putting 5'8" and people see if you're 5'8", they just assume you're 5'7" or 5'6".
Okay, perfect.
So we're going into the premise of a date now that like I'm about to go on a date with a liar. And I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like everyone needs
I don't think that's the case. I disagree.
Okay.
I think if you're a woman, I like what you said. I think that you should just assume if somebody puts 5'10", they're probably 5'9" or 5'8". Okay. It is what it is. He's not a liar. He just feels that he has to do that in order to try to get a woman to meet him. Right. So imagine being a 5'6" man and only 2 women a month click on your profile. Like nobody's clicking on your profile. So you have no choice. And the second you put 5'9", boom, you have 20 women clicking on your profile.
You lied.
Okay. So you meet me and I'm amazing. And are you going to hold that against me? It doesn't matter.
You lied.
I disagree.
I used to think like you. And then I had Coach Erica on and she just like, that's a lie. And then the moment people go into the date thinking it's a lie, it's just like, well, what else could they lie about?
I think that's an extreme statement. I completely disagree with that.
Okay.
Fine. If there's 2 or 3 things on his bio that contradict what he's saying when you meet him, fine. That's a liar. But the height thing, like give men a chance. So this is what I'm going to tell women. I think you should meet a 5'9" man knowing he's 5'7" without holding it against him and just get to know him. You're just going to meet him. That's it. Just go meet the guy.
On that part, I'm with you.
Husband.
Like when I online dated, you know, I'm obviously a tall woman. When I online dated, if a guy said he was 5'11", I just assumed they were 5'9". I just kind of went into being like, okay, like it is what it is. Like, but I think a lot of people don't think like me or you. I think a lot of people going to dates being like, let's see if he's a liar. And that hurts dating. That it really does hurt dating. And that is a symptom. It's not like this hurt. Like if people are going into dates this way, it hurts dating.
Yeah. Some woman put a comment. I don't know who this is.
We're going to have people on. So you want me to?
Okay. Well, there's comments here about what we're talking about, actually.
Should I call in the first hotline? We could talk about it?
Yeah, we could call in the first hotline.
All right.
But, is that who's commenting? I don't know. Okay.
Welcome to the Ask a Matchmaker Hotline. How can we help you?
Hi.
Hey.
Maria. Hi, Louie. All right. So I didn't call in to talk about this, but I have lots of opinions, but I want to talk about what I first wanted to talk about. So I'm excited to talk about this opportunity specifically with you, Maria. So my boyfriend and I have been together for 15 months. So just past the 1 year mark.
All right.
We're tracking to move in together in December.
Okay.
That's just like a month that works with my lease, my personal timeline, etc.
Okay.
But everything I've learned from you, you do not move in until you get the ring. And I have told him that. So with that December timeline, we've been doing some ring shopping. And just a little background, I've been married previously, and so I want like the literal opposite of my previous ring. But he has a best friend that texted me, and she said, would you be opposed to the center stone being a different stone than a diamond? And I said no, but then I thought of you, and your center stone is not a diamond. And I'm just thinking a little bit. I think so. I am born in America, raised in America. I am white. I think there is a lot of
diamond pressure
and a lot of just like whatever social. Yeah. So diamond pressure, let's call it that, where it's like, oh my God, if you don't have the biggest diamond, your boyfriend or husband isn't rich, doesn't make a lot of money, whatever. I am not opposed to having a middle ring that isn't a diamond.
That's great.
How do I get over not, I don't care. And I kind of love it because I feel like it's not a basic bitch thing. How do I deal with like my aunts and my mom being like, oh, he didn't get you a diamond.
Not a single, I don't know. Listen, I don't know your family. Okay. But I'll as a sapphire bride myself, right?
Sapphire bride. I think I'm going to be a sapphire bride. I didn't want to be.
It's the best. And let me tell you why it's the best. Okay.
That's what I want.
First of all, congratulations. I'm so happy to hear that you set a boundary, that he respects it, that you're going ring shopping. I think this is incredible. I think that as someone who has been engaged and also gets people engaged, there is this weird pressure of like what to get about other people, like what they're going to think. But at the end of the day, you have to look at your finger for the rest of your life. And you have to be super comfortable with what is on your hand and also super proud of it. Right. I personally knew that I wanted a sapphire, not because it's my culture. In fact, I mean, I know a lot of Northern European brides, like northern people who live in North Europe, tend to do precious stones. I know in most of my friends, with the exception of one friend, almost all of my friends have diamonds. What I liked about the sapphire was that I think because I do look down at my fingers a lot, especially when I used to be in an office and interviewing single people all day. I just wanted something that looked unique and different and that I would never grow tired of it. And it made me feel really proud. And if you get a ring with a diamond, you're going to feel all those things too. I want to answer two things here. Number one, if you want to go sapphire, I will tell you that you will always feel unique. You will never grow tired of it because people will stop you on the streets. People will like, you'll be on the subway and people are like, is that a sapphire? Like, get ready to talk about it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You will always feel like you just got married. And that's fun. That can be a lot of fun. But the second thing about like your mom and your grandmother, I want to believe, and I don't know your mother and your grandmother, but I want to believe that they're going to just be really happy that you're happy.
That's my thing. Like he could, I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but he could propose with a ring pop. Like I'm literally obsessed with him.
Oh my God. I love that.
I hear what you're saying. I come from a family that values appearances, and I'm the black sheep of my family. And
you realize I'm sorry for interrupting you, but like you realize like Princess Catherine has a sapphire.
I know. Oh my God, my mom loves her.
Okay. So join the team, Sapphire Brides. We all have this in common. I will tell you one thing. And I'm sorry, and I apologize for interrupting. I do want you to finish what you wanted to say. But you know, I think you're really underestimating how much more sapphire you can get compared to a diamond.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Just price wise.
For sure. And obviously I'm not going to get engaged or marry him for his money. But I do think like you get more bang for your buck, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So
you can put diamonds on the side of it. Mine's got a couple diamonds on the side of it.
Ring, right? That no one else has, or no one else except Matchmaker Maria and other people that value other stones and other unique designs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even take my ring off at all. Like I've kept it on since 2015. I'm just really proud of it and it means a lot to me. And, coincidentally, sapphire is the stone of September people. And my husband is a September baby.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Okay. There's also other precious stones out there too. One of my close friends, she has a ruby.
Yeah.
And then there's yellow diamonds too. Like so there's other precious stones that exist there. I'm definitely biased over the sapphire though. I love it. And you will always feel special.
I feel so much better and just like less social pressure. I feel like there's a lot of social pressure to have like the biggest diamond and put it on Instagram. And I don't care about that.
Then it doesn't matter.
What did you call it? Diamond what?
Diamond pressure?
No, you said something else, but diamond pressure, that's a thing?
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah. So like as a man, I don't even know how many men know about this, right?
Welcome to millennial Instagram.
Right. But listen, I think that, first of all, the big thing that I think is amazing here, it sounds like you have an incredible relationship. Yeah. Strong communication. You're talking about this. You're setting boundaries. He's listening to you. He's respecting your boundaries. I love this. This is amazing. And I love that you love the idea of a precious stone. Because I think most men are kind of clueless about this, right? Like we don't know what to buy you. We just do what our friend tells us to do, or maybe we'll talk to one of your friends or something. But even that's far-fetched, I think. So this is amazing, but I love the communication that you have. I think it sounds like an amazing relationship to be able to talk about stuff like this. Because I think this could be the end of so many relationships because of something like this. You're amazing. I love it.
I agree. Oh, thank you. And I'm honestly, Maria, it's because of you that I was like, I will move in December if we're engaged before December.
And what was his reaction to that?
He was like, great. We'll start ring shopping now.
Wow.
Like, okay.
He's a keeper. Yep.
That's it. See, now like the best part about this whole story is that like she set a boundary, she communicated clearly, and he responded in the most green flag way possible.
He was like, yes, I'm excited to do this. I've wanted to do this.
I'm like so happy. Like oh my God, I think my cheekbones are going to pull out of my face. Go back to now disagreeing with Louie.
Okay. What was I disagreeing about?
You were saying that if a woman was curvy and she put that she was slim, men would be upset.
Okay. So this is my thing. It's like, okay, so I feel like as a woman, so I will say I was on the dating apps for years and years, had horrible experiences. I hired a matchmaker. I live in Chicago. I did not hire Matchmaker Maria. I paid for the service of another matchmaker, and I was very happy to do that. Even with the matchmaker service, I took into account that with the whole profile of every man I got, their whole bio, values, must-haves, nice-to-haves, deal breakers, whatever their height was, I would always subtract 2 inches. Always, 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 always. So I will say, my boyfriend right now that we've been talking about, he said 5'10". No, I thought in my head, he's going to be 5'8". He showed up, he's 5'8". I'm 5'9". We're making it work. It's amazing. I love him. We love it. It's not fair for women to have to do that math when men, I feel like, are so much harsher on women. If a woman was to say like, I'm curvy, I'm athletic, I'm slim, and you show up even an inch in and out of that, men would be like, nope, don't like it, out of here. women give so much benefit of the doubt, and I feel like men are so much more judgmental.
Yeah. I think both men and women are extremely judgmental, and I think both men and women need to like get over it. You need to just get out there and start meeting people and not let these little things deter you. If a man is 2 inches shorter, just do it like Elizabeth did. Like she knew. He said 5'10", he's going to be 5'8". Yeah. It wasn't this extreme, reaction, right? Like, I'm never going to see you again. You're a liar. You said you were 5'10", but you're really 5'8". Bye-bye. Like, you didn't do that. And I love that about you. Like, you literally were like, okay, I know he's going to be 2 inches shorter.
Or men, if they want like the skinniest little whatever, who's the skinny model, Kate Moss, or if they want the curviest Kim Kardashian, you're never going to meet either one of those in life. So just be like, meet
every woman wants Brad Pitt or George Clooney or someone that's attractive or someone who's handsome, someone who's tall. I hear this every single day.
Someone that takes a shower every day, brushes their teeth, knows how to cook like 3 meals, and can plan 3 dates. Whether you're a planner or a plannee, we want you to be able to plan 3 dates.
Well, we want you to do that too.
And we are going to show up and do that.
If I may interject on both of you, I think you're both right. I think what our caller is saying is like, here is what we want to consider you boyfriend material. And I think what Louie is saying, like, when you're online dating or even using a matchmaker, because we have this experience with a lot of our female clients, is that the standards do go a little higher in choosing who we want to be with, just to even go on a date before you find out all that other stuff. And some guys can get passed on for not having the right hairline, for living 2 subway stops away, for not having a perceived high value job. And, we hear that, like, so I want to reiterate, like, you're both right. Which is why I always tell people, like, lately I've been really on this kick of like, God, go on Eventbrite, go to apps, like go on that app and like go to events and meet people in person, because that perception of who gets to go on a date with you, it does lower when you're having a good interaction with someone who is attentive and doesn't give off a creep factor. And that's really, really hard to judge based on a photo when you're online dating.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like, I recently was talking to someone, and, she didn't want to meet this person because he was a school teacher. And I was like, I can look up how much you make. Like, he makes like 90,000 a year. He's like a pretty, like, that's really good for a public high school teacher.
And they have tenure, so they can never get fired, and they get a pension.
And they get a pension, and they get health care. Like, there's a lot of, and they get a more flexible work schedule. They come home earlier. So they have summers off. They can also, some teachers have room for side hustles, like doing real estate or investing, and it took a lot for me to get her out on that date. And now they're dating. But, it was just like, I think if she had met him at a friend's wedding, I don't think she would have sneezed at the chance of going out with him. But the moment it's being presented to you, either through a matchmaker or through a dating app, suddenly it's like, I'm looking for a man in finance, 6'5", blue eyes, like that is real. Like, that is something that we hear in our office all the time. And then I think the other kicker that's happened at work in the last few weeks, right now, most of our clients are in finance, at the big firms. And the women that we've introduced them to, they are, they're excited. Like, oh, I'm going to meet a guy that, works at I don't want to say which name, but like, one of those big financial firms. And I'm like, yeah. And then they go on the date. They're like, he seemed really busy. And I'm like, yes, he is busy. He's not busy. He's not too busy to date, but yeah, like this is a person who has like a high stress career. That's why he gets paid the big bucks. And it's just like, no, I want someone who's going to, be like this. And I'm like, well, then you can't date. Like you can't say you want finance guys. There has to be a balance. What do you think, Louie?
Yeah, I think people just need to get back to basics and just start meeting people. I do think that people should read between the lines when they're looking at people's profiles and photos, right?
Yeah.
Because we men, we're not the best communicators. We're also not good at filling out forms and pushing buttons. So maybe we're not selecting our height really, or maybe we're not even thinking about it. Or what if we don't even select a height? Or what if we don't even select a religion? And you're Jewish and you only want to meet Jewish. So you are selecting specific criteria for what your search requirements are. And a lot of these men are not popping up because we don't push the button, right? So like, I don't know, I think you should just open yourself up, just have an age range, maybe a radius, and then take some more time. I always tell people, like, remember when you first got on the online dating sites and the apps? Remember when you first got on?
Mm-hmm.
It was so interesting. You took so much time to read everybody's bio. It wasn't just next from the photo. You actually stopped on every person and like read the bio and you took your time. I would love for people to like, at the very minimum, try to get back to basics and do something like that.
Yeah.
Slow down, right? If somebody has photos of them in front of the Eiffel Tower, in front of the Colosseum, they're well-traveled. They traveled. It's expensive to travel, right? And, sometimes like Bumble and Hinge and Tinder even are not the best apps or places because people hide everything. You don't know if they went to school, if they went to college. You don't even know if they have a job, right? And so like that's the downside to these type of apps. At the same time, you can get a sense for someone based on the questions that they're answering. For example, sense of humor. Maybe they like the movie Dumb and Dumber versus somebody who likes, I don't know, Chariots of Fire, right? So that gives you a sense of like the type of movies that they like, which
the
gives you a sense
generational
of
difference
personality.
right now.
I know.
That was so real.
Chariots of Fire. I don't even know where that came from.
How old are you?
Okay, so like a Forrest Gump versus like Dumb and Dumber, right? Forrest Gump is funny, and even Forrest Gump is old, but so is Dumb and Dumber, but they're classics, so everybody knows those. But that's what I'm saying is like, just take some more time to get to look at the total overview of each person that you're looking at. Don't just judge it based on the photo.
Yeah, I like that. All right, let's take our last question for this week. Welcome to the Ask a Matchmaker podcast. How can we help you?
Hi, Maria. Thank you for all of your content. I find it very relatable, and I wish I would have had your advice back in my 20s.
Oh, I love you. Keep going.
Yeah. So my question today is, when is it appropriate to have the financials conversation with, for example, my boyfriend? We've been dating for 1 year and 3 months. I'm 37. He's 36. So I always find it like, it's awkward to ask, how much do you make? What's the approach on that?
I have a lot of great tips. We actually teach this in Agape Intensive. So I'm going to just give you a sneak peek to that really quick. But, I think you asked not financial question, you actually asked financial conversation. And I think that's actually the key word is financial conversation. And to participate in that conversation, you need to have answers to your own questions, which is like, I'm going to give you some questions. So just throw it down, right? Is what do you do with your money? Like, how do you spend your time? And you don't have to answer these right now, right? These are questions for you to like do homework on, right? Like, how do you value the way you spend your time? And how do you value the way you spend your money? Because those two questions are going to equate to your lifestyle. So what is your lifestyle costing you? If you had kids, if you want to have kids, if you had kids, how much does that cost and lifestyle change? And then also asking yourself the future, right? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line, how do you envision retiring? What happens if a parent gets sick? What happens if a child gets sick? Like having these answers to these questions personally by yourself, you can then come into a conversation with like hypotheticals. I also want to add that a financial conversation is simply that. It is a conversation. It is not a debate. So if you're going to be sharing your take on what you learned about money, how you make money, what you need to unlearn about money, because maybe I come from parents who didn't teach me shit about money, and I made a lot of mistakes in my early 20s. I had to unlearn certain habits. And if you know those answers, what do I need to learn about money? What do I still want to learn? What do I need to unlearn? That is such a beautiful conversation to have with someone that you're dating, because then it's like, well, what do you need to unlearn? And you can come in with not necessarily reacting to the conversation, but like informed to the conversation to get the answers that you need. Now, in hearing you, and Louie, I'm going to give you in just a minute your chance to respond. You've been dating for more than 6 months. And I feel like by 6 months, you should know what their spending habits are. You should also have a pretty good idea, if not vaguely, transparently, what they make. How do they, if they're able to save, how do they save for the future? What kind of debt they have? Some debt is good debt. Some debt is bad debt. How do they manage that? As someone who has crippling student loan debt, I've been paying that every single month out of my paycheck since before I met my husband, right? So to him, like I've told him how much I owe, but it's never come out of our shared checking. It just comes directly out of my paycheck. So it's like, I don't really even think about it, right? And all my husband knows is that I've never missed a payment. And, in those conversations, we share credit scores, we share what we're trying to do to improve those credit scores. So like, it is a conversation where you also have to listen and not necessarily react. And it should have been happening.
So I'm a big fan of like giving an actual like plan. Like, here's your timeline. This is what I think. So I know Maria has a 12-date rule when it comes to intimacy, right? You have Maria's 12-date rule, which everybody loves because it works. So I believe in a 6-date rule to get to the 12-date rule. So I feel like the first 6 dates we should break down a little bit further, right? So dates 1, 2, and 3 is just to get to know what they're like as a person, right? So that's just like you don't have any expectation, and it's human nature to think about like, okay, well, can I see myself with this person? What will my friends think? What will my family think? Can I bring them around my friend circle? Stuff like that. You don't do any of that on dates 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, and 3 is just who they are as a person. Dates 4, 5, 6 is what they would be like as a partner. Okay. So the first 6 dates is first 3, who they are as a person, next 3, who they are as a partner. And that's when you can ask a lot more of these personal questions, right? About past relationships, stuff like that. So that takes you to the first 6 dates, which could take you 6 weeks to get to, a month to a month and a half for the first 6 dates. I believe you should become exclusive at that point after a month to 6 weeks, right? That's the first step, is exclusivity. I think you should be exclusive with somebody where you're getting to know each other and you're not dating other people. Max 2 months, 3 months. Okay. Yeah. When you become his girlfriend or he becomes your boyfriend, I personally believe you should say, if he says, oh, I want you to be my girlfriend, right? I know we've been exclusive now for 3 months. I think it's time to like take it to the next level. Let's be committed, right? Like now you're my boyfriend, you're my girlfriend. At that point, I think every person should say, fantastic. Before we commit, let's make sure we're aligned with our future path. And I think 3 months in, when you're dating somebody, is the perfect time to know whether you're going to see yourself with this person long term or not. You need to be compatible, more or less. It doesn't have to be perfect, but at least somewhat compatible, that you're both looking for the same type of relationship. You're both looking to have children, or you're both not looking to have children, or you're open to adoption. Like, these are things you should know before you commit and have a boyfriend or a girlfriend with someone, in my opinion. So, for example, you should have had this financial conversation. This includes financial, right? Let's talk about your finances. Let's talk about your debt. I'll talk about my debt. Let's figure out like what we have, right? Because that way you're not finding yourself 6 months into a relationship with someone. What if you're not compatible financially? Then what? Are you going to break up with him?
Right.
So like that's just like it's almost been too long now, right? So at the same time, I think that you're not engaged, so maybe for you it's when you get closer to like, you don't want to waste a lot of time. If you're 37, are you looking to get married and have children?
I mean, it's something that I've considered. I actually have children already. I have children from a past relationship.
Okay.
So I'd be open to having more children if if the opportunity comes up.
So does he want, he's 36. And does he want kids?
He said he does. Yes.
So that's a good example of him saying, I want kids. And you're saying, I'm open to it. So like, this is this could be one of his things, right? So your thing is financial. Maybe his thing is like a family. Right. Yeah. So is your timeline, and you're 6 months into this. So I think it's potentially, maybe more on him, if you're open to it, like if he really does want kids, you kind of have to move. Right. I mean, women can have children well into their 40s. So I don't want to give you the wrong impression, but I don't know that you want to have children well into your 40s.
Yeah, that's something. Like I said, I'm open to it. I haven't said no. He did ask me, and I said yes with the right person. I would definitely would want more children.
Yeah. Here's the one thing that I always see. People are afraid to ask these questions about finances, or ask these questions about like, are you looking for marriage? Do you want to have children? What does your timeline look like? And people are afraid to ask these questions out of fear of the response. Okay. So you need to get the response and just know the truth, and then make a decision if you can see yourself continuing to date this person long term, or do you need to end it? I would rather you end it sooner rather than 6 months into a relationship, which is why I like the 3-month conversation, because that's enough time where you don't feel like you've wasted a lot of time, but you've invested enough where if you walk away, you gave it a good shot and it just wasn't a good fit. Right.
Right.
What are you going to do?
Have this conversation definitely as soon as possible.
Where are you going to do it?
I'm going to meet up with him tomorrow. So
okay.
And listen, it's all about delivery, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
The best advice I can give you when it comes to delivery is don't do this across the table from each other. You need to go for a walk or for a drive.
Okay.
That way, like, you don't have the pressure of an interview happening. You have the freedom to move your neck as you're having, it just takes the pressure off of using your words and having that difficult conversation.
Right. And here's the great thing. You're 6 months in, you're not 6 weeks in. And the whole basis for this conversation, it's about a partnership. Yeah. You're in a relationship. And I think that's a great segue into starting this type of conversation. I really like you. We've been dating for 6 months. I would love to have a conversation about what our partnership looks like what my idea of finances look like, what your idea of finances look like. And don't make it so much about like, well, how much do you make? And how many kids do you want? And when do you want to have kids? Make it more of a conversation. Like, we're in a partnership and I can see this going somewhere. I'm not sure how you feel, but I would like to at least open the conversation.
They've been dating for 1 year and 3 months.
Oh, shoot. I thought it was 6 months.
No.
Yeah.
I said you should know all of this by 6 months. I mean, ideally by 3 months. But
okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No, you can go full force with this one. Yeah.
Okay.
You should feel comfortable doing that. Like, if 1.5 years, I mean, you should know everything about each other. I'm shocked that you don't know his finances.
Yeah. I've always been shy. And so it's tough. It's tough to
It's tough because you're scared of the answer.
Yeah.
And I think that's valid, by the way. Louie and I don't fault you for anything. Like, it's that fear is valid. But I think it's time. If you're meeting tomorrow, you're going for a long ass walk tomorrow.
Yeah.
Grab a Starbucks and start walking.
Yeah.
You've got this though. And I think it's such a win-win, because either you're going to have that conversation or you're going to learn a lot about that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want you to leave that conversation confused. You should get absolute clarity because you've put in enough time that it's reasonable. It's not even earned. It's reasonable to have that sort of transparency.
Yeah, I think the financial is really important, but I think the biggest thing here is understanding his timeline to have children.
Yeah.
He wants to have children. When does he see himself having kids? What if he doesn't see himself having kids till he's 38 or 39? At this point, you're 40, 41. So that to me is it's just as big of an issue, honestly, because, you know, I don't know. I have to hold back a lot because you've been dating him for a year and a half, and I have to take that into consideration. But
he's met your kids?
Not yet. No. Wow. Yeah, they're young. So I really wanted to be sure before introducing someone new to them. I didn't want to. I wanted to really be sure before doing that.
I guess we're going to find out this week.
Yes.
And then you're going to email me and tell me how it went. And I'm going to read it out loud in the next episode.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, Louie, that's the end of this episode. I can't believe we were like, oh, let's record a 30-minute episode. Here we are an hour later.
Yeah.
Next time I talk to you, it will be in sunny Athens.
It's hot, I hear. It's really hot there. They closed down the Acropolis.
They had a heat wave last week. And forget the Acropolis. Chrysoula, my sister, who's a matchmaker at Agape Match and lives in Greece, and also my sister-in-law, they were like, our kids have no school for the rest of the week. Like they shut down the schools from the heat wave. Luckily, the heat wave has dissipated. It's going to be 90 to 95 degrees, which I know someone maybe was like, that's a heat wave. And it's like, no. We're talking about like before it was like 105. So, so it'll be great. Yeah. And, we'll be recording.
Even more luckily, we're going to be in Paros. We're not going to be in Athens. So it's much cooler in Paros because you have to be surrounded by the sea. It's going to be a little windy.
It's going to be great. Yeah. And, I will be recapping. I think my plan when we are on these retreats is to recap every day and put up a reel and a TikTok every day of that recap of like, here's what happened today. I'll record some photos and videos, and then I'll just do a voiceover. And, hopefully people will comment, but really I'm really proud of this. I'm really proud of my team, and I'm really proud of like this experience that we give. Because I mean, I don't know if people realize this. Our second retreat, so like the first week is in Paros, the second week is in Crete, which is a whole other retreat. And of the people coming, 90% of them have been on, if not 2 other retreats with us in the past. So it's like they liked it so much, they're coming back again. And I love that. I think it's like such an honor to match people with their new best friends. And that is essentially what we do. Like, I hear from women that come to these trips all the time about how like there was a life, they call it BP, before Paros and after Paros.
That's funny.
I love that. And shout out to our girls and Manes, our photographer, because we hired a photographer for 2 weeks to follow us around and take photos of everyone at the retreat so that they don't have to take out their phones to take out group shots. We'll be taking cool shots.
Yep.
Anyway, Louie, I'll see you in a few days.
Can't wait.
Yay. Okay. I can't wait to get updates from both women. So hopefully they'll email me and I can read it on the next episode.
Yep.
All right. That's all for here. Be lovable, but more importantly, be likable. See you next week from sunny Greece.